allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning.
Call the meeting to order. Approve the agenda, we gotta have a correction on there. The 9 AM, Bob Lincoln is pulled off for this morning.
I will make that motion with that change.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Approve the minutes. Anybody have a chance to look at them?
Yep,
Yep.
Red, don't you, I did, I don't see anything out of place, I'd make a motion to approve as written.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. General public. They're breaking down the doors in this cold weather. Todd, you're up. All right.
Morning, Todd.
Aye.
How is everybody?
Cold.
Tired of this weather?
Yeah, Al. Ashley Emick, representing Alan Peterson, contacted the Conservation Board about an easement along the Three Rivers Trail.
Oh, thank you, sure.
It's over by Rutland. It would be west of like where Ron Ferdolfson's at, the guy with the windmill, but east of Rutland. The yellow line on the picture that I just gave you represents the easement. There's an easement in place already. What Alan is asking is to extend that easement 228 feet more to the west. And I apologize for the chicken scratches on there, the Beacon Maps thing, and we had a fight this morning. I couldn't get little waypoints to go on there. They wanted to
It was
put on
cold
top of
too?
each other. So, if that's not clear enough, just, I guess, let me know.
Did you say it was east?
East, yep, further to the, well, the
It'd be
easement would be further to the west.
Towards the west.
Yep.
Okay.
There's no easement there now?
There is an easement to this first line.
Okay.
There is an existing easement. And what's going on is Alan has sold 10 acres of this property
Oh, I see.
to Mike Clay. So in order for him to access the rest of his property, he needs to extend that beyond.
Easement, so he can get his lane put in there.
Yes.
Does that yellow line just basically signify a drive of some
Driveway or
sort?
something.
Yeah, it's just a
Path?
grassy path.
Yeah.
Yep.
And am I looking at this right, Todd? Is this a trail?
Yes. Yep. That is
Okay.
the Three Rivers Trail.
So the easement is still on the quote-unquote trail property?
It's on the right of way.
It's on the right of
Yes.
way.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to understand, get a
Yep.
grasp on there, that's what
It is, but it's
Okay.
kind of a funny deal. There's a fence there on the south side of the trail.
Mhm.
Whoever put the fence in didn't put it in on the property line. This easement is actually on the south side of the fence.
Okay.
So it really doesn't impact the trail and what we've got going on in any way, shape, or form. Conservation Board has signed off on it already,
Okay.
So Ashley's
It's just-
representing the purchaser or
representing Alan Peterson.
Alan Peterson, all right?
So when you say,
It's his property currently.
Right.
it just runs along his property, and he's sold some, I'm assuming that the extension is for what he sold, so he can get,
It goes to the rest of his property.
Yeah.
Correct.
so really just, they're exact, what is it, 200 and some feet?
I think what he sold is this portion here. He
228
sold this
feet.
piece.
He
Or
sold
he's
that,
in the process
he sold
of
that
selling it.
piece, and he
This
needs
way,
to get
get-
to this piece.
Yeah,
That's what I figured, yeah.
Yep, you got it.
okay.
So it's really not gonna make,
Follow that, Cindy.
I think
Okay.
so.
I got it, yeah, Rick explained it pretty good.
Yeah.
He needs to get, yeah.
Has to be in here.
Long story short, it is a reasonable request. It's,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
And
Is there any
out of line.
dollar, or it's just to
No
record it,
change.
it's just a,
Just to record,
Just record it.
with the recorder that there is
Okay.
investment in place.
Just have
I
it.
don't see any problem with this,
Mess the eagle's nest up, 'cause they're gonna put him right close to
No,
it.
that's further west. Yeah. And the active one is actually down along the river. bank, so this would have no impact on that whatsoever.
And this isn't, just to reiterate on the, it's not really much of a lane at all, it's kind of a path.
A path
At this
through
point.
grass, yes.
Where does this little road come out on the Rutland Blacktop?
Yeah,
Rutland
that's
Blacktop,
blacktop
yep.
there,
The-
there's a little,
Top of the picture.
Is this,
There's
this
an
isn't the
underpass
old
here.
trestle, is it?
no, right here's the old, the trail's here, and there's the trestle that goes underneath.
No,
Right.
that road actually goes over the top.
Oh, it goes over the top, that one does?
So this, like a
Okay.
mile or two, this would be for Dawson, before for Dawson?
For Dolphins would be,
They'd be over here yet.
yes, yes.
Okay,
Yep.
I'm just trying to get my bearings
Yeah,
where,
no, but I printed it showing
That's fine.
more area, but then you couldn't see
Mhm.
very good what's going on, so I kinda condensed it.
I liked your statement, and you fought with the program a
Yeah,
little
yeah, one of
bit.
the Monday morning things where I should've done it on Friday when I had more time.
Well, good explanation, thanks for at least getting this much, it makes sense, I'd make a motion to authorize the chairman to sign that said easement.
Okay.
I second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Dave, when you have time, would you stop at Aaron's and Lee and sign that, please? Okay, sounds good.
did you visit with Todd on that,
Boone
water-
River watershed.
Boone River watershed that,
I did a little research on that. I guess what I found out, to me, there's minimal risk as far as Humboldt getting involved in that. Really what that focuses on is more of a, like a voluntary water quality, flood control type of a thing. It's not like, I mean, you guys deal with the drainage stuff all the time where you clean out a dredge ditch and all of a sudden, I'm assessing Bruce $30,000, and then you've got a room full of people that are mad. Why'd you bill me that much? This is different from that. Anything done would be voluntary on the property owner's property. Cost, minimal to zero, honestly. Forming this group opens up grant opportunities to do buffer strips, create wetlands,
any type of improvements.
Yes.
Water quality
Yeah,
improvements.
or nutrient reduction type
Mhm.
things. You know, they bury the wood chips and it filters out the
Yeah.
phosphorus and nitrogen, those sort of practices.
Mhm.
If you join and you don't like how it's going, at any point, you can say, I'm out. I talked to, I know there was a Kyle Ament that came and talked to you guys. I actually watched some of it online. I'm not sure he did a fantastic job maybe of explaining what was going on. Even I was confused. So I went and talked to Kit Paper. He works at the local NRCS office. He is the local watershed coordinator. He did a little better job of explaining what was going on. So if at this point you still have questions or you're still unsure, I would suggest maybe getting a hold of him.
I just noticed on the east side of Clarion, they have a, I can't remember if it's like a mile or two outside of town, they have this big sign over there that says, this area is part of the Boone watershed, which, I guess I hadn't noticed that, and it just caught my eye the other day when I drove through there.
I haven't seen that. I don't know. I'm assuming, I don't know when they're gonna get this cranked up either, for sure. I know they had to ask all parties within, 30 days or so of forming the group.
And then they're gonna start, like, applying for the grants.
The first step would be to create a watershed plan. You have to have a watershed management plan in place before you go the
Grant.
grant route.
Okay.
So there are some steps to take before you get to that point.
Okay.
And Dave, did you talk to Todd and through all this discussion, if there's anybody that needs to be kinda represent the county's concerns or interests, you would kinda keep an eye on this?
If none of you would like to be on another committee and go to more meetings, I guess I can and I would, if that's what you want me to do.
And I don't know,
Up to you guys.
I don't think anybody knows how many meetings or get-togethers this organization would have.
I was told they would meet quarterly, so 4 times a year, so there wouldn't be a huge time commitment from whoever ends up going, if you choose to join.
So you would be
If you want me
available
to,
and
yeah,
agreeable?
I can do that, yes.
That would be much appreciated.
Like I say, that's up to you guys.
You have better knowledge of it probably than...
Maybe.
I mean, that's a little lower on our agenda, I see that item coming up.
Cool.
That's why we kinda wanted to ask you that question.
All I wanted to ask before you got out of here.
No,
But in your recommendation, we have the ability to jump anytime?
Yeah, I see minimal risk,
Yeah.
and honestly, there might be some benefit too, in the end. I think the benefit definitely outweighs.
So Thursday, when it says minimal risk seen by...
That's when they said that.
Kent was writing like crazy, No, I just wanted to ask before you, so, I'm
Well,
good.
I gotta, just, well, because, yeah, we don't wanna keep you here till the end of the meeting, but, did you talk to some of
You
the
have
people?
an extra half hour built in now.
NRC has. Do you, and it says members to be on the appointment of members, and this is probably ties back to some like nutrient reduction strategy, because you mentioned the bioreactor and so on and so forth, type things that they may look at, you know, down the road. Would it make sense to have a Doug Adams type person? I'm just using his name as an example, people that work for the NRCS to be on this committee?
I would assume they are already involved.
Yeah.
Through their,
So they would have
have
knowledge
somebody
of
there.
this.
I know I'm on they have a Prairie Creek, and I think you referred
Yeah.
to that, the Prairie Creek watershed group.
Which is part of the Boone watershed.
Doug and Adam
So-
Ashe go to those meetings.
Okay.
So they're there already.
Okay.
So they would have knowledge of what's going on.
So they would at least certainly want to be aware of this
Yes,
agreement.
they are aware. The day I stopped in there and talked.
Okay.
I talked to Doug Adams.
Well, I'm just looking for members, and we don't want to, you know, we
Yep.
appreciate if you are.
Yep. Doug would be outstanding, but like I say, I think he's already going to
Probably on it.
be at the meetings because of his job.
Okay.
So I don't know that, he could wear both hats at the same time.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, he'd be looking at two different
Yeah.
reasons.
Just an idea, because that's kind of the direction it goes with
Yes,
the
yep, definitely.
resource conservation type
Yep,
program here.
yep.
Perfect,
So,
thank you.
that's all I know. All right.
Okay,
thank you.
All right, thanks, Todd.
You bet.
Let's move down to the authorize the chairman to sign the Boone watershed 2080 agreement.
I would make that motion.
I would
We'll
second.
sign it, and we need an appointment of a member. So we appoint Todd.
From the time being?
Motion, or you need it separate?
It would depend upon if Bruce would like to amend it.
I can amend that,
Include
and-
that, and Sandy wants to
Second
amend the
amendment?
second, yeah.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
I am too.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to authorize the chairman to sign the watershed 2080 agreement and appoint Todd D. to serve. Any other discussion?
Just, depending upon how big a deal this is, Todd said it's like quarterly, you know, and if, would guess if it gets too much for him, or he sees we need more direct, you know, I don't wanna say county involvement, but one of us, Board of Supervisors or someone,
Alternate.
we could probably add a member, I would guess, down the road.
I would assume so.
I don't know
Well,
what,
I tell you what, I'll go on the board also, because I got land up in that area and I get letters from the Prairie Creek.
you already got the one
Prairie Creek
watershed project.
So that'll be part of this anyway.
There is one taken for the team.
I
Don't think
wanted
this-
another one.
Does that need a motion? Can we appoint Rick too?
Well, right now, we've got an original motion and an
And
amended
an
motion.
amended motion,
So we
and
gotta
now
vote
she
on the
needs-
Okay.
amendment, we gotta vote on the
Yeah.
original, then we can make a new one.
Okay.
Okay? All right.
All right, all in favor of the original motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Or the amended one, which one did we?
It was supposed to be amended first, but that's okay, we'll do the original and then we'll do the amendment.
Okay,
The amendment was to appoint Todd Lee.
okay, so we have a motion on that one, then second,
Yes,
right?
we do.
We,
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Okay, now we're open for anything that,
Now, I would make
Rick on there too.
the motion that members to serve on that committee to also include Rick Peterson.
I will second that. That version.
We don't have to bring
Any
that
other
one.
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thanks, Rick. Keep an eye on things.
I'm all for clean water.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
Okay.
gonna be a big commitment.
Moving back up,
Time.
right on time. Ben?
Morning.
The first item that I have on the agenda is to approve the plans and specifications for two bridge replacement projects with box culverts. The first one is over on Washington Avenue in Norway Township, and the second is over on Georgia Avenue in the southwest of Bow. I guess what I'm looking for is, to approve plans and specifications and set a letting date for March 20th.
So these, both these be about the same size boxes, or what?
The one in Norway Township is only an 8x8. That is on a smaller branch where you guys just did clean out, DD3.
Three, yeah, it's a
DD3.
branch off of that.
Yeah, so this is branch A off of DD3. It's only,
And you already got the dirt stockpiled there, don't we?
yes, yep. It's 3 square miles of drainage, the other one is like 26.
So well, there's a chance if we did these that you could get someone to bite on both? I mean, would that be a possibility, or?
Yes,
Would be
we're not
workable?
tying them together
No.
just because the difference of size.
And they're quite a distance apart.
And they're quite a ways apart. The 8x8, there's quite a few contractors, Rognes, Whiteman, those guys put them in with their, large excavators.
Right.
But the twin cell 10x10 up by Bode, that's usually set by a crane.
Cranes?
So that'd be somebody like a Midwest or a PCI would probably have a cheaper price just because they have a crane. Or Whiteman, those guys end up renting a crane. That's why we didn't tie the two together.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the plan and specs and set the bid letting for March 20th at 10 a.m. for the two projects, LCs 171109 and LC 393006.
I'll second Rick's motion. I don't have to,
Tell them number.
no, the 20th at 10, you say? Yes.
Where do you propose to have the bid letting?
What's that?
Where do you propose?
Up here, if that works. It's what we've done in the past. Everybody brings their bid submissions into Peggy, before 10 a.m. and then usually we open
Okay.
the price.
And then you award it the following Monday.
Yes. We'll double check the numbers after the opening.
That's a
I
Wednesday
know
morning.
we've had some conversations on when we have new contractors come to town, we're gonna have to really get hard on the, how would I say, references. Look
Prior
at
work.
them real hard,
Right.
not on the secondary roads,
Oh,
probably. Other-
You've heard
other
this
issues
before.
we've had.
For
Concerns,
Yeah.
drainage, but Rick brings up a good point.
If we're having someone new, we're gonna look hard at the references, make sure they've done these type of projects before and,
Right.
and,
We don't want the same, we don't want the same thing to happen in a box culvert as a drainage project, and you're familiar.
Yep.
So, do your due diligence. And the ones that you've thrown out that you're familiar with,
We've been very...
you already know, but sometimes you don't,
Yeah.
or we don't.
What's that?
We usually have a couple.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know, so I'm just...
Yeah, I think it was 2005 the last time that we didn't,
Had an issue.
Yeah.
that we had an issue.
It's usually interesting to come and listen and see how...
I know we're doing our discussion now, we haven't got
How
to
many
the
real
motion.
people there are, how
I'm just
anxious
gonna
they are
ask one
for the bids
question.
when... I think
Well,
what,
this is just a
last year we
question,
had-
what road, yeah, this, you can't quite tell
Two
the one south of
or
Bode
three
on,
jobs that he had, so...
George guy.
Okay.
It would be, I don't have the map in front of me right now.
That's not too far
But it'd
what?
be a couple miles west of Bode and then back south. In Georgia, there's 3 load-rated bridges right now.
In that general area.
That are in that general area that got hit with the SU vehicles.
Yeah, they changed
With all
the
the
vehicles that
Mhm.
go across them.
They went from not being load-rated to being load-rated when we had to load-rate all of our, bridges for
Mhm.
And this is a kind of a nice...
So this is
through
kind of a
road.
bridge type thing right now?
This is a 3-span wooden bridge right now, 60 foot long, I think it is.
Okay.
23 and a half square miles of drainage,
Mhm.
so we're looking at a
A lot of water.
This says, so what has this been,
10 by 10.
2 10x10?
Yep. So it's just a little bit smaller than the one that we put in down the hill from your house.
Mhm.
So I think that was a 12 by 10.
So this
12 by
is-
12.
Okay.
One or the other.
Did we vote on that?
No, we haven't voted
No,
yet.
we gotta,
Motion in a second.
Any other discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Gotta sign all these.
We all do.
We all get to...
That's the beauty of being the chairperson. Do all the fun stuff.
Just sign our name too, Dave. And that bid letting, you don't need a quorum here for that.
I think I just, I know I need 2, I'm not sure if I need 3 for that.
I can be here, I'm having to
Because
go on that
I know
day.
I'm gonna be gone, so.
I'm pretty
You
sure
got
I
where?
should be unless something...
When?
I'm going this week, so I finally get to go next one.
The 20th.
Oh, the final, for that bid letting?
Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm gonna be home. I will be home for that. I had my date screwed up.
Okay.
The second item that I have on the agenda is to approve the purchase of 2 motor graders. Last Wednesday, I believe it was, we had quotes due for motor graders. We got 2 quotes, one from Murphy Tractor and one from Ziegler, both in Fort Dodge. Page 2 shows the summary of the quotes. Murphy was $685,800 with $100,000 in trade-in. Ziegler was $716,276 with $121,825 in trade-in. There's roughly $8,600 in difference between the 2. When you start looking deeper into the numbers and the additional value that you get for a trade-in, 15 years from now, when we trade this machine off, Ziegler usually carries a little bit higher trade-in value. Talked to both operators that'll be running these machines. They both like the Caterpillar more. We looked at fuel consumption, we looked at a bunch of different things when trying to come up with my recommendation. And I guess the first page is a summary of everything that we looked at, with the bottom basically culminating in my recommendation of purchasing the 2 Caterpillar motor graders for $8,600 more than the quote for the John Deeres.
They have really good service too, don't they? Customer service and things like that, they're really good about that.
Both companies have excellent customer service and excellent repair technicians
Okay.
that show up at the shop to work on the equipment. So that's a wash between the 2.
Okay.
Both salesmen are from this area. They both live in Humboldt.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Our last 2 were Deers, weren't they?
We're predominantly Deere.
So I thought-
The the entire county is all deer except
Oh,
for
okay.
3 Caterpillars, 2 of which we're trading off right now. In the past, Caterpillars have been killed. For whatever reason, when we've been purchasing equipment, cat has usually been $40,000 to $50,000 more expensive than deer. So I guess I was surprised by the bid opening when they were as close as they were. If we're ever gonna consider running a Caterpillar, this is as close as I think they'll probably ever get. But that being said, both companies are very reputable. The machinery that they have is top-notch. Everything met the specifications that we asked for. And, I guess just talking with the operators who had run both of them, they felt more comfortable driving down the road in the Caterpillar.
Will those older cats that you're trading, will that front end, the plow work on that, or is that?
We're gonna
have to
keep
up-
the V-plow
Yeah,
on the front. We are getting new Scarifires, but we're keeping the V-plows. A lot of those V-plows are actually from the 40s.
I was gonna say back when they really made them.
We basically, tweaked them to be able to fit on the new frames.
For that old? Holy cow.
They don't wear out.
Those V-plows are, I mean, we rebuild them, you know, we re-weld, cutting edges on them. But yeah, to my knowledge, we haven't bought a new V-plow in a long time.
Well, I, for one, appreciate your due diligence on, you've already mentioned, but I just want to reiterate that check with operators, you know, some of the down the road trade-in value. You know, I've heard a lot of good things about Caterpillar. I've talked to other counties that run Caterpillar. You know, they've had a lot of good things to say about it. So, you know, this kinda goes back to, yeah, fractionally more, but probably in the long run, maybe a better choice to go back to the cats. And, you know, I think, there again, not to, you know, try to be a salesman for them, because I think...
Say, is this a commercial or a
It's
motion?
well, the motion is to accept this.
Okay.
As,
I didn't know.
I was doing the conversation prior to the motion.
All right.
I'll make a motion that we do, go with Ben's proposal here. I think it's a good idea.
I'll second Eric's motion.
Any discussion?
I've tried, I already have it.
No, I think
We didn't take the low bid, but it's within
I just,
9,000.
Right, and we don't take bids on equipment, we take quotes.
you look at it.
For this particular reason. That way you don't have to take the low. You can consider additional value for trade-in or fuel economy.
Yep.
Well, I think the fuel
Just the front page
itself
only.
is gonna be a huge
Yeah.
issue in the coming years.
Okay.
I mean, that's what they sold my truck to me on, was the fuel consumption, and so,
And this worked out.
I wouldn't say that. Well, you know, he told me 7 miles a gallon, which 7 miles versus 4
Big difference.
is a big difference when you're putting it in yourself and you don't have that company card.
Mhm.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
So where will that put us, Ben, on the cycle? We got our dump trucks last year, we've got these motor patrol for this, will they be delivered?
The delivery date estimate was about 10 weeks.
So then will that put us in line a couple of years out then, so we will start rat holing again a little more?
So the plan was, we did the 3 trucks this past year, which most of those got delivered here
Right.
in November and December. We've got these 2 motor patrols in this current fiscal year, and then next year, I believe we have 2 more dump trucks, in the 2020 budget. Then, next time we look at motor patrols, will probably be another fiscal
Another
year
round.
out beyond that.
That's,
We've still got some equipment that, is in the 90s, so by the time we replace that, it'll be 23 years old.
Right.
But those are winter machines for the most part, they're not everyday
You
machines.
don't get a lot of use.
Right. The two that we're upgrading right now, one's a 96 and one's a 98. So then we'll be taking a couple of the 2004 machines that we have and switching
Turn them into winter
routes.
routes.
Yep. So the two machines that we're trading are in Bode right now.
Okay.
Where are these two new machines targeted to end up?
These two new machines are both going into Humboldt, Mike Mayall's route, which is Bode's territory,
Mhm.
and Steve Illig's route, which is Beaver and Grove Township. Those are the two machines that had the highest hours on them. Predominantly,
I got switched.
when Mike Mayall was based in the Rutland shop is where a lot of those hours came in on the machines.
Mhm.
So then the two machines that they've got will go up north and, Ben Stalzer and Mike Phillips will be running.
But they're just-
For,
Make sure I got the story right, they're going on wintertime route.
right. Because right now, the way that it is, Ben and Mike both run trucks in the summertime
Right.
and then a blade in the wintertime.
So they'll have a newer blade
So they'll
for
have a
next
newer
year.
blade for next year, yep.
Good. Yep, nope, I think we had good discussion on that, thanks for your hard work looking through everything.
Oh, appreciate it. Sorry I didn't have all this to you guys over the weekend for you to view. This is
Or
a
Manette.
summary of the paving bids that we had this year.
Well, you're just wanting to spend all kinds of money today, aren't you?
I sweated about it all weekend too, I'm like, boy, this is an entire year's worth of budget spent in
One morning.
day.
Wow.
Manette Inc. was the low bid at $3.3 million basically for this year's paving. Flynn was right behind them at 3.37, and Cedar Valley was 3.6 million. This money right now actually doesn't come from the secondary road side. $1 million of it is STP funding, which comes from Midas, from our region, and the rest of it all comes from our farm to market fund. Manette is the same contractor that's done all of our concrete work here in the county. They did C-49 for us this past year. A couple of years prior to that, they did C-26 from 169 over to Hardy and the Badger Road up to the Thor Whitetop. Very good contractor to work with.
Then they came back
And they came
after
back.
last year's fiasco
Yeah.
of snow and
Bad
snow.
weather.
Maybe they figured the snow's been pounding this up here now, so they'll have an early spring.
Well, somebody told me spring starts in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Um,
It's on the- it's on the calendar.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I'd make that motion to award that to Manette for the $3,324,539.25.
I'll second.
Any other discussion?
Question, and hopefully I didn't miss the date, approximate time frame.
Late start date for this is May 28th. But my guess is, if it's like any other year with Manette, as soon as the snow is gone, they'll be here working. to try and get us
Planting season.
done,
But I figured,
To try and get us.
this
done.
might actually take place during planting season. I think we're gonna have a nice spring once we get there,
I hope so.
I really do.
So do they mill this then?
Yep. We've got.
It's gonna be similar to
It's similar to the other.
C-49.
We'll do crown correction milling. We're taking 3 inches out. Every road in Humboldt County right now has about 9 inches of asphalt. And the higher up we get, the narrower the shoulders get.
Mhm.
So what we're doing is we're taking 3 inches of asphalt out. I believe they're selling it to your old roommate, George. plowing that. They've got a lot of work in this area from the sound of things, from the January letting.
So will they work with the that'll be past the quarry?
Their plan right now is to set up, I believe, in Hodges. They've still got the original pad from the last time they were set up there.
Okay.
And it's halfway in between the Rutland Boat Road and the North of Hardy stretch.
Good.
Any other discussion?
There's about approximately 9 inches of asphalt.
Currently.
You're taking off 3.
We're taking 3.
How much, what's the depth of the,
5 inches of concrete.
just a,
So we'll be roughly 2 inches higher than what we were before.
should you, or could you, or would you take more than 3 inches off of with the milling?
You probably could. Right now, the 6 inches that are left is a pretty good base for this 5 inches of concrete. In the past, we've only done 2 inches milling.
That's what I thought, I think.
So you are getting a little more
So we're
off.
we're going a little bit deeper than what we have in the past. 9 inches is an average
Yeah,
for the thickness. I mean, there's been times where you run into it and it gets thinner going through hills where they try and smooth transition through. It hasn't happened recently, but I think one of the last asphalting jobs we did, when we tried to mill deeper, we ended up getting down into the rock through a hill. But like I said, that hasn't happened in years.
well, I'm just basing it off your comment that the higher you go, the narrower the shoulders get. We don't always like that
Right.
scenario. And that's why I just wondered when you're doing it, and, you know, so 3, it is deeper than past projects. That is, you know, where you're doing it, and granted, I'm sure if it's, the deeper you go, the more it costs, the more you take off, more material you're dealing with, and
The
milling.
slower they can mill.
Slower, yep. But obviously,
Expense for that.
obviously, you've made some progress going a little deeper than 2 inches, going to 3. So, and there again, this is white top, we've talked about it before, lasts a long time. You wanna have it right when you put the stuff on, so you're pretty comfortable with taking the 3 inches.
I'm comfortable with taking the 3 inches off
Okay.
and putting 5 inches on. It's similar, if we were doing an asphalt overlay, we'd probably mill 1 inch to 2 inches and put 3 inches on top of that. I know Webster County is doing asphalt north of Fort Dodge past the airport, and then, west past my place over to 169. And I wanna say that was a 1 inch interlayer and 3 inches of asphalt over the top of that, and their bid was like $330,000 a mile. I mean, it was very high. So, I think we're getting good value for our money with concrete right now.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I'll have to get with you, Dave, because they do electronic signatures on the contract now. Where you have to create an account and sign off on it that way.
Everybody's getting techie.
Yeah.
Just one signature on this one.
Yeah, just one signature on that one. And I think that's all I got. I know I talked to Bruce briefly on Saturday. It does sound like the milk truck operator from Davis's farm, did go into the ditch on Saturday, just, 20-50 feet south of Highway 3. I don't know if that was speed as a factor, or if the intersection itself was an ice rink. I haven't been over to look at the intersection.
So he's coming off the highway.
Correct.
He was coming off the highway and went into the east ditch, so as he was turning, like I said, I don't know if it was speed or if it was a combination of the two that slid him in the ditch.
I'm sure it's a combination of the two.
I talked to one of my operators over in that area. They did run that area Thursday and part of the day on Friday. but with the temperatures that we had on Friday, a lot of them pulled off of the gravels to try and clear up the remaining asphalt roads that we have.
I would just ask that where there's known traffic, that milk truck goes there every other day, period. There's, they, year after year, as long as we have that dairy, to, scarf that up, do what can be done. We can't make it spring till it gets to be spring, but scarf that up if need be, throw some gravelish, sanding stuff, whatever, to do. And the same way in front of that dairy, 'cause, that truck has gotta get in and out of there, and, just address it. I mean,
Typically, we try and scratch it up. I don't know if we did at this instance, because most of our maintainers have the V-plows on front of them right
Yep.
now. for-
So like I said,
for
if-
drift
if-
busting. So,
when they're out and they've been doing a nice job, at least where I've been on the hard surface, like you mentioned, the day they went out, they sent the graders with the blades to try to scrape, get down, it was warming up a little bit. A lot of places they did a lot of good and really cleaned some stuff up. So, I mean, they're doing overall real well. But like I say, in that area, and if they don't have the scarifier on, if they can't do much with the blade, just circle around there with the sand mixture, just to get something, and,
we try to use that as a last resort as far as saying
but
gravel
if,
roads.
and not the whole road. The
Right.
intersection in the front of the dairy, where that the traffic is gonna go. And I don't know who is in charge of that particular route area right now, but I had the concern from, of course, the Davises, that the maintainer operator was a mile south on a 3-mile stretch of road that no one lives on. Not to say that they don't need to get to that road at some point, but maybe the timing, logistics, which we talked, bus routes, so on and so forth, the expediency of what needs to get where we know the traffic's gonna be, get there, make sure that they're aware of that. And I know sometimes it's part-time guys, but I'm thinking the part-time guys are
This
pretty...
wouldn't have been part-time, this would have been one of our full-time routes. It's either Mike Carpenter or Mike Mail that drives down south of 3 to hit a couple of miles for him.
Yep.
We've got 2 routes depending on whether or not we pull in one of our part-time winter helpers to run the routes, to split up the miles. I'm not sure on Friday if we had the part-time guy in, I'm betting not. And like I said, we probably would have hit it, had it not been the fact that we had a
Clean the
28,
blacktops.
29 degree day and we jumped the blacktops.
So like I say, you gotta, juggle things, logistics of it, you only got so much equipment on so many miles of road, but
Right.
these known routes in that particular area, really make a concerted effort, because, that was a pretty rugged deal with the, truck going in and...
Which if he's driven this route for the past 20 years, he should know he's gotta slow down when he
And he does.
switches off of a paved road
And
to
I'm
gravel.
pretty sure he does, but the conditions being such, and like you said, there's reasons, the blades are on, 'cause they're still, the V-plows, a lot of times they're able to go out and, with the scratcher things,
Yep.
and they didn't have that option. Like I said, don't be afraid to throw some sand and mixture and stuff, in some of these, and that may not be the only intersection, it's just, we can't make it spring, but we can make it a little bit better, and I just think they need to be aware of it.
Right, and like I said, I guess, I drove from here all the way down to Des Moines, and all gravel roads are pretty much under this condition right now. Further south, they didn't get the 12, 13 inches of snow that we got, but they had the rain and the ice.
And that's what we're dealing with, because, like we were talking, we got some previous precipitation before the snow, and Rick's been fighting it in his yard. Everybody's kind of realizing it, like I say, it's not spring and it's normal winter driving, if you will, but, where we know there's some things that we could improve a little bit, I think we really gotta take a hard look at it, and make sure that they're aware and get after it.
No, I'll talk to my operators and we'll try and get a scarifier out there today to scratch into it.
And the amount of, we don't, no one expects the gravel roads to be sanded,
Right.
but the spots, there's not, we're not talking a huge
Weaver
deal.
Township is predominantly flat. I mean, we're not up in the Cora area with a lot of hills. I mean, there's, the only slope on the road is the
Crown.
2% crown that we try and
Right.
fit into them.
Good morning, Kathy, this is Peggy.
But at any rate, just
We'll be ready in just a few minutes.
do what you can to improve
For
those
your
areas,
report.
so that we don't have it happen again.
All right, we'll see ya. Bye.
I have a question, Ben, on that email that you sent us on them bridges with for the 130, those,
The logging bridges,
yeah.
I...
Appreciate you bringing that to our attention.
Yeah.
Do we need to put a letter together, or what do you recommend? Or should we just call Brink and those guys and say, how the hell can you put that big of loads on our bridges and not let us know they're coming through, basically?
And that's the struggle that I was having by reading that from, the Tama County engineer, was basically the DOT was gonna sign these permits for this logging company following that House, bill that they're trying to pass, where the counties won't even know that these loads are
Yeah.
coming through the county. I know Eric and I talked a couple times through email, and I believe you spoke with, Representative Cranbrink.
Yeah, he has got the information, and Ben, of course, brought it to our attention, and then actually sent a little data on some bridges of our concern, which would be similar, I think, in other counties. So Tim has the information, he is aware of it. And, you know, granted, hopefully we're not, you know, well, I think it's rightfully so. Like you mentioned, I don't know how many trees are gonna go through Humboldt County, how much, you know, we don't live in Canada, so forestry isn't a big industry, but it's a bad precedent, like you said, Bruce, for the ability of the DOT to say, hey, here's this huge load, it can go wherever.
Right.
We already just talked about bridge, you know,
Bridges being load rated and...
capacity on that
Yep.
thing, so, yeah, Tim is aware of it, I need to get something to Mike Sexton, I think I have the information that I can just get that on to him,
Okay.
so that he can be aware of, I'm sure he's aware of
From
it.
the sounds of his response to you, it's already got enough traction that they think it's gonna pass through, whether we complain,
Or not.
you know, until we're blue in the face or not. I don't like the fact that the DOT
No,
can blindly sign off on this, because the DOT doesn't know the condition of the bridges on secondary roads.
So then, when we have our meeting in 2 weeks down, listening to them tell us, you know, we only get X amount of dollars for,
It'd be worth bringing up.
it'd be worth bringing up to say, well, what good does it do us to complain when the DOT can just run this through our county and they don't have any, we don't even know about it until a bridge drops? That's what scares me, is they run them across our bridge somewhere, and then a farmer goes into town with a load of corn, and the bridge drops, then who gets blamed for it?
Right. And like
Up with the cost of
Eric
it.
and I had talked, I mean, the good thing about the system, the way that it is right now, is if a contractor or an implement like this wants to move through the counny,
They have designated routes.
they're trying to get from point A to point B, we can look at the map and
Right.
direct them
Direct
on a
which
road
route
that
to go.
Yeah.
might not have a bridge to drive over at all, you
Perfect.
know.
But that,
But
by
we
not
don't
having
see
a
that.
voice in
We
it, we
see
don't,
that,
yeah.
I don't know where this thing came from.
I don't
It's
either.
very odd.
I think it's...
Very odd.
From the sound of things, it's the timber industry and them fighting, trying to get permits to move cross-country with their loads.
Hmm.
And I don't understand the politics of all of this, but basically...
Didn't you find it a bit strange that it's forestry, so the thing we might have going for us in most counties in this part of the state, we don't have a lot of forestry,
Right.
so, but it's a precedent, 'cause who knows if this gets in effect, what else they might
I think
do.
the other industries are watching this, and if
Oh,
it
yeah.
does
Oh, yeah.
pass, I see them...
They're gonna
coming
get in
after
line,
for the
too.
same thing. Exactly.
Right.
You know.
I'm gonna have to get a bigger truck then if I had to pull more.
You gonna start hauling logs, maybe?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, I just was reading that, and thanks for sending it to us.
No, thank you for, I wish we'd have got it, I wish the Tama County engineer maybe would've seen it sooner, or we'd have known.
Well, and I don't think it's passed yet, from the sounds of things, from the email you sent on to me, it's just that
It's
Cranberry
there.
thinks that there's enough people in favor of it. I don't think they
Understand
voted on
why.
it yet.
It's gonna cost the county.
I think it might be one of those things nobody's really aware of.
Right.
And sometimes that stuff sneaks through and it looks pretty harmless today, but somewhere down the road, they piggyback on that, and it's something that could affect us. It could be a problem.
Right, and like you said, if every other industry is watching this, you know, they're just waiting for this to pass, and then they're gonna...
Bingo.
Thing.
Right, all right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Does it matter if the bridge is posted, the weight post?
If it's posted, they still have to follow the posting.
So you can post some of your bridges maybe just put a weight limit on?
Right, so that's kind of what I responded to Eric and Cranebrink was, I guess we'll just post every single bridge in the county and just put 48 ton
Yeah,
on every one.
I was just wondering, yeah.
But it's still an expense for the county,
Yeah.
because then we've
Gotta
gotta
go
go
out and maintain
buy all the
signs.
signs
Mhm.
and put them up.
Mhm.
So, somehow it'll come on the county, you know, whether it's that or if it's us having to hire our bridge inspection crew to go in and load rate all of our bridges and see which ones could pass this 130,000, which ones couldn't. I guess we're just waiting to see if they pass this rule, what our next step will end up being.
Thank you. Are we here or are we out at yours?
Either one.
Well,
We'll
you
just-
got your computer and stuff set up, or what?
If Peggy's got her computer here, or I can bring my computer up and hook it up, either one's fine.
We'll
Just
be
call me
here,
when you guys are done and I come back up.
hopefully shortly.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay.
I don't like this stuff the state pulls
They
particularly.
just
Then
force
we've
it on
been
you.
thinking about the
We're
whole
gonna move down
overall
to
of
the
everything.
accept and place on file the general assembly assistance quarterly report.
There's Kathy, long time no see.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. For first and second quarter, general assistance, I really, can't say there's any abnormalities or anything out of the ordinary to report to the board. I always try to kind of do a look back from the previous, fiscal year, a little bit higher both quarters for, salary, and that is due to, of course, the raise increase that, would have happened in July, and also, percentage allocation changes, because our staff, at that point in time shared with case management and mental health and disability services, so that made a little shift, as well as mine moving into, the other counties with the mental health advocate stuff starting in August and September, so. So, and I anticipate that'll probably continue to change as time studies are done and we do different, you know, look at things, how to cover all the bases with these programs. So, I did talk to, Upper Des Moines, because they had not billed us for allocation. There's no requirement necessarily for them to do that on a quarterly basis. Sometimes they would do 2 quarters at a time, sometimes quarterly, but they have had some changes in their billing personnel, and so it's probably a good thing I called, because I said, you know, just wondering kind of where that was at. So we did, get billed by them for the first 2 quarters, and that'll be issued if it hasn't already been, so, during the 3rd quarter, so, yeah, otherwise, it's pretty much the same things that we primarily have been asked to, cover and people apply for, more rent. I think we're seeing, I talked to the board about that. I know County Social Services has had some changes in their policy for rent, and I can't say for certain that those are the folks, you know, that's the reason why we see a little bit more in that, but we've had rent and utilities, and, just the one, I believe, the one funeral, request for this year so far, so budget-wise, yeah, we're sitting pretty good so far for the fiscal year.
Okay. I'll make a motion to accept and place on file the first and second quarter, reports.
I have a second.
I'll second that.
Second. in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Good job.
Thanks,
Thank
Kathy.
you.
Thank you.
Okay. Back up to the second reading of the county ordinance for the number 69 for the animal protection and control for Humboldt County.
If anybody would like a copy, it's here.
Better have some coffee, you might have to be up the rest of the week.
It's terrible.
We had our first reading last week, nothing has been changed on the ordinance, it stayed the same as it was last week.
Anybody have any complaints, any calls from
We did up
community?
here, I don't know about you guys.
I didn't.
I didn't get anything.
No.
Excuse me.
We had a couple of calls from the other entities. I'm going up to the board meeting tonight and explain it. But they're wanting to set it one by themselves.
You good?
Oh, what?
Oh, they're thinking they wanna go with something different.
You got a bigger cup.
Go up and explain ours and city of Humboldt.
Thanks, sir.
I guess we need a motion to,
I will make a motion to accept, the second reading of ordinance 69 concerning dogs or animal protection for Humboldt County.
I'll second.
any further discussion?
Just what you just mentioned, you're going to Bode?
Vote tonight.
They had a,
City council meeting to explain how we come to this ordinance.
they asked you to give them a little further explanation.
They don't quite understand it, and I told them to get the Humboldt's ordinance and adopt it, that's what we did.
I think they're a little concerned about the fees
Right.
involved,
And a lot of these small towns, the fees, what we're trying to do is go everybody on the same page, so the fees are all standard across the county, and, with that, why then they would, first time they pick up the dog, it's $50, and the next time it's $100, and thereafter it's $100. So it can get expensive if you let your dog run wild and gets a complaint on it, so.
and then the cities have to go back after the owner to get that
Right.
money,
Right,
and they're concerned about that.
right, but, I mean, it should be something.
Yeah, so, I'm gonna go up and explain it to them, that's the only comment that I've had on it, so. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Do you wanna waive the third reading?
Well,
I don't think,
I'm just-
with you going up there tonight
No, I
to
agree with
visit,
Bruce.
I think next week we'd have the ability to do that.
I think it's
Probably shoot
fair,
ourselves in the foot, you do that.
since you had a request that Dave's following up on, I think we better just
Yep,
go with the second reading.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to waive the third reading of the ordinance and the final one too.
I thought we were gonna wait on that.
Yeah.
No, well, excuse me, I...
You-
To postpone it.
Postpone it. Postpone it,
Is
that a, okay, he's lacking sleep. He's lacking sleep. I knew-
Everyone looked at him like,
You don't have to do it.
Peggy had the best luck.
I knew this was gonna happen to you.
Oh,
Piece of cake.
we're good.
May need something.
Okay.
Need some coffee, poor guy.
Well, we're about to our drainage. Do you have any other quick things that...
Under 15 minutes, so you wanna do committee reports?
Sure.
Yeah, let's get them done.
This past Monday, the 25th, I had a building families meeting. It was, because of the weather, was attended, mostly teleconference, but did get that in with the other folks. That was in the afternoon on Monday.
Did you go physically to it, or did you...
No, I
just-
did the teleconference, as I say, most people did that day, because the weather conditions weren't very good yet, but did hold a meeting, it worked. Then on Tuesday, the 26th, I attended the workforce workshop that was held at Rustics here in Humboldt. Had a good speaker. Unfortunately, you never know, it wasn't quite, we learned a lot about diversity in the workforce. Whether it was quite targeted for our area and what we thought it was gonna be, and Sandy can speak to it a little bit more, I kinda went out of there really, but, it was what it was, so that, it was educational. And
Good
that-
content.
Yeah.
A lot of cars, I mean,
Yeah, it's
There was
pretty
a
well
very good
attended,
turnout.
pretty well attended. So, that was my two official things I did this past week.
Okay, I had a regional landfill meeting on Tuesday night. We did hire a company to look for a CEO, because the last one, after we offered it to him, he changed his mind and decided to stay in Texas. I wonder why.
Why?
I know, you probably heard about this
26 below
winter.
when he is up here.
That's the matter with him.
it's telling me to have a warm heated office, or what?
And then on, the 27th, Wednesday, had a dog shelter meeting at City Hall at 6:30, and, they adopted some bylaws and progressing forward on that. That's all I have.
Okay, I had, Edmo meeting on Tuesday night, down in, they've changed that location, so if, we used to do the poly call over in Eagle Grove, but now they've, with the reconfiguration of, some of the area, they moved it to Fort Dodge, so. On Wednesday at noon, I had the ministerial meeting, everything seems to be going well there. We're still working with the food pantry, trying to find a location, which brings me to, if you're looking for some activity today, at 1 o'clock, the food pantry truck comes in up secondary roads. I think she said she's got like right around 3 plus to 4,000 pounds of food gonna be delivered, so they're doing bang-up business out there. Then on Wednesday afternoon, I had a call in for the, CFR. We didn't meet this month. They had, an award they got last Thursday night, so they just had a call in to do get some of the bills paid, so did a call in on that, so that's all I had for the week.
Tuesday, the 26th, I went to the workforce workshop. As Eric said, she was a very good speaker. It was a lot about diversity and how to bring diversity into the workplace, and asked questions on what our difficulties were as far as getting people here in town. A lot of it is, of course, we're rural, and our challenge is getting all types of workforce into the Humboldt area, to get them here to work and enjoy the community that we all enjoy. So it's just getting the word out and trying to get some information out to people, what there is available here. The other thing I had was Wednesday, the 27th, I went to the Allison, Iowa for the County Social Services. And that again was another interesting meeting. We're trying to get Cassuth County to pay their portion of this bill or outstanding. So it was a very spirited discussion on trying to get them to either, they can't leave the group unless they pay their back.
I got a question, have they paid anything ever? Because now that we're like,
Yes,
maybe in
when they
year
first-
two, this was 3
Right.
years.
They have not paid last year or they paid the beginning, and that's the part of the problem. There was that, what they call a fund, where they all had to put in their beginning, and then the state came in and said you had to have that paid down by, I think, what was it, 25%? Well, this region did, the 22 counties,
And what happened was now the state's come back and said, oh, you don't have to do that. And so they're...
So now they, yeah.
They're upset. And it's just not Cassuth County, it's Worth, Winneshack, and Winnebago, they're also upset about that. But the region was doing what it was supposed to. It was just recently that the governor came in and said, oh, I don't think we need to do that now, because the other regions were not, some of them were complying and some were not. So this year is going to be interesting to see where it all shakes out.
That's caused one of the other W's be upset, and they're the ones that are...
Yes, and then poor Emmett County...
is caught in the middle.
It is, because it's what they call orphaned. You have to be touching your region. Well, if Cassuth, Worth, Winnebago, and Winneshack all leave, then Emmett's going to be orphaned. They'll have to go with whomever
They go in.
Whichever direction they go.
And they don't want to. They know we have the top region, and we really do. We have the top region for services and everything. And it's just a shame, it really is, because they're gonna get... But the other region is not willing to accept Cassuth yet either. It's the northwest.
The one on northwest.
Yeah, the northwest. They're not willing to accept them yet, so... Yeah, it's just interesting. And that's all I have.
Okay.
Did you get that envelope, the big one that I put in your
Yes,
desk?
for Iowa Workforce, yes, I did.
For
Thanks.
workforce development?
Workforce development, yep, I did.
They're cutting back to 6 districts. Ours covers clear over...
Oh, it's huge.
All the way north, all the way west, and down almost to Council Bluffs.
They changed it from the original one, because I got the email on there, and I thought it was kind of funny how they did it. But then when they went in this, and redid it again, it was like, wow, that's gonna be huge. We're already having a hard time getting people in to the workforce, so really it's a bad area to be kind of cutting back on.
Okay, Tuesday I had a VA downtown. Wednesday I had the animal control down at City Hall. Thursday I had an emergency manager committee planning meeting, trying to write up a guideline book for her office down there. And that's all I have. You run out of paper anyway.
I was just at the very bottom, wondering where I was gonna go next.
Okay, moving on along. We're still early. Take a 5-minute break and go into drainage. Get a motion to go into...
I will make the motion
I'd say
to...
you probably could go right into drainage and be all right.
We don't have... I haven't seen
Rick's here, I've heard him.
Rick, but I haven't seen Dave.
No, but he's late, is he later? Is he first?
Well, he's supposed to be here to represent them, is...
Yeah, he's the second thing.
Oh, the
10
second thing, all
o'clock.
right, well.
He'll have to be here till 10, so.
I mean, it's
While we
not up to
switch-
you. If you wanna take a 5-minute break, you can, but
Well,
if you wanna go right into drainage...
let's go into drainage, and if we need to take a break, we can just slip out then.
Okay.
Okay,
Motion to go into drainage.
so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Opposed? Carried. Go into drainage.
there's Rick right there. You wanna get his packet?
Take a 2-minute break while we're getting...
Is that tile running?
What do you think?
Well, I had a lady at church yesterday worried about, she said, have you noticed how high the river is? I said, how high it is? I said, the drifts are getting higher. She said, well, I'm worried about she said she thinks the level of the water, where the ice seems to be higher than what it has been in the past, and she lives up towards the Bessemer area. Worried about whether or not we're gonna have, I said, well, if it keeps snowing, I'm sure we'll have flooding, you know?
Depends on how it melts.
Yeah.
Right.
We have gentle spring, then I don't know. You made it out of the subdivision.
Yes. I might have mentioned to you, they brought in a big tractor with a big snow blower to get our drifts back a ways.
I was told that, the state was hiring some of these farmers that have great big blowers, because they can't get what, you know, they have a small amount of blowers that they're trying to get here, there, and everywhere, and so they've been hiring some of these farmers with great big blowers to go and try to blow this stuff back away.
I believe it.
I went to Fort Dodge one night and they were
That guy
blowing
was going at 8 o'clock,
Yeah, and then when I had to go pick up my mom in the morning at 5:30, when I was taking her down there, he was going south, and when I went to bring her back, he was coming up north. Same tractor and blower.
I think he might have got a little close to that bridge that, I think he found the
Oh, no.
abutment, or the steel girder that
Ooh.
keeps them away, 'cause it looked like somebody had chewed on that,
Scrap.
and I'm guessing that might have done a little damage.
I'd forgotten about it when I got out of college. I worked for the DOT for a few years. They have a training program where they rotate engineers to every department. One of my jobs in one of the departments was sandblasting a snow blower so they could repaint it. Okay, yeah, we definitely got some grunt work.
They're too cold.
Yeah. Brought yours in or not? So I'm not quite used to your new seating arrangement here. So if I call you by the wrong name, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
This is the reclass based on, oh, did you get that? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You guys want one of these? I got some. Usual for our reclass to just be one page, two sides.
Yeah, kinda nice.
Yeah.
Paperclip.
Summary.
I don't need to stockpile them.
You don't?
No.
Okay. DD 35 Branch C reclass here.
Okay, we use our, general procedure we use on these, where we use soils a lot to get characteristics of the soil. The soil type gives you several factors. Some of it even says, good for row crop, wind drained. It gives the slope on the land. It gives, in the same report, you can find the crop suitability. Just a lot of factors involved. And then, what we've been doing for a few years now is a proximity factor, where if you're over a quarter of a mile away from the tile, we'll give you a small reduction. And then if it's half a mile, we'll give you more reduction. On this one in particular, there was some property to the west, Harlan Schultz property in particular. Harlan relies on that one private tile for his drainage, so the commissioners decided to give a little more reduction going that direction. And then the other place we did reduction was down, south of where the pipe dumps into the creek. That open ditch, based on watershed, there's a piece of property south of where we hooked in that actually comes into the watershed. Now, we did drastic reductions down there because they can just dump right into the ditch. So we did 80% and 90% reductions down there. But those are the main reductions done. Now, in Harlan's, I talked about significant reductions as we got out that far. the commissioners also thought we should be consistent with how we've been doing it with ag well closures, and added a $2,500 charge back onto Harlan's for the closure of that ag well. And that's a sheet you don't have. This is gonna be a one-time deal where, they'll pay the assessments plus $2,500, and here's what we put at the column, at what we put on this page. The column with the heading titled additional for ADW removal shall be used only in the initial levy for this construction. This levy is expected to concur in 19. With this levy, this column after this levy, this column shall be disregarded, and the base assessment will be used in future levies. So, it's a one-time deal. We've done it in the other ones with ag well closures, and that's why they thought we should do it this way. That's the good part of having the same commissioners do multiple requests.
They remember those things.
Yeah, absolutely. Pat and Brent are both very good at remembering what we've done in the past and analyzing these, so.
So he's getting an additional charge for the closure of the egg well?
Yes, one time, yes. And that's what was done on the others too. There was a column for,
But then because it's all about egg well closure and the cost share with Idell's, and then is that considering the cost share for closing the egg well?
I guess
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They pay for X amount
Mhm.
of these projects. Is that, where does that
I don't
fall?
remember what the bid was on this one.
Well, but for
the
that,
ag well.
I don't know. I mean, is that taken into consideration? Harlan, you're aware of all this?
Well, I thought Idell was paying something towards the closure.
That's my
Yeah,
question.
Yeah,
I don't know.
to get the cost down, they're paying 75% of all the
Correct.
costs,
Right.
including the, what?
Of the other project.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Be $130,989
Mhm.
is what Idell's would reimburse.
oh, okay, okay,
But I mean, it came up, you said $2,500.
yes,
That's a one-time fee.
right.
Is that factored in, that's his share? Did they pay towards, does that make sense? 'Cause it-
Well, it's part of the overall cost that they pay 3/4 of to get it down, but I think the charge is probably gonna be to Harlan.
Right.
That's how it's worked in the past.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's still cost share
Yes.
towards that charge.
Yeah.
Yes, that helps get the overall cost down.
Right.
Yeah, including that number.
Right,
Yes.
that's what I'm
Yes,
asking.
yes,
That was
yes.
factored in,
Yes,
because that's
I would
part
say
of,
yes.
that's why they have cost share, because it's a drainage wall closure.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. And that was, like I said, that was factored into
Yes,
that
and-
amount.
We had no written complaints,
I asked Trish,
none,
yeah,
okay?
so,
All right. I will say this is probably one of the most even, reclass cases
yeah,
I've ever seen.
it kinda worked out that way. I don't know
I mean,
why, it's because it's
It's
similar.
probably fairly flat land.
Yeah, yeah, fairly consistent as far as the soils that's out there, and
Mhm.
that kind of thing,
Yeah.
yeah.
I just wish we were doing the completion.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the question was brought up as far as finances and where it stood, and Trish had a report that was from somebody that was inaccurate as far as the money on hand, because you levied 50% of this.
Right.
Right.
And it's actually slightly in the hole now.
Like
Trish,
13,000 something, 500 something.
Val came
As
in,
we sit right now.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
Val came in and was asking about that, 'cause that's-
13,252.41.
because that's gonna affect interest, that debt, at least
Mhm.
will have some interest on it. But it's good, you did half of it already, so you can keep that interest down.
Yeah.
And the reimbursement from Idell's will be coming yet too.
When?
That doesn't come until at the end, does it?
I've already submitted for it since we've got more expense than what the reimbursement will be. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah, but does that mean that they're gonna pay it forthright, or is it still gonna be at the end, like?
Yeah, I don't know, I thought
I've
they
never
had,
seen
I
them
thought you
pay
had to
it
have
ahead
a
of time.
completion hearing to get that money. No?
Not all of, the final, yes.
No,
They will put money,
okay.
The whole
That'll just be the
retainage.
Yeah, the retainage, that'll be after. But
Okay.
you should be able to get the reimbursement for the rest of it.
Okay.
sooner than later.
Right.
So legit, and the other question, if we're talking about levying and so on and so forth, is there anything being levied? This, no. This
I
kind,
don't think so. We're, with the uncertainty of contracting and,
so you're not levying this go-round?
you know,
Make sense?
and we had waivers, or, installment payments on the last one. And I hate to get 3 of them out there for different ones, because they're 20 years long, if they choose to go that
Oh,
route
so they wouldn't be making 3 different payments.
on 20 years. And I don't know if there's a way I can amend the first one
Put them all together?
payment and, yeah, or if that's,
So,
Okay.
not gonna levy, supposed to be getting some money from Idell's, should offset the whatever dollar amount you just said,
$13,252.
which therefore would put a fund balance instead of a debit to alleviate interest.
Yes.